We're here today with Little Coleman. Little is the author of a new book called ABC, That Could Be Me, an alphabet picture book written and illustrated to empower Black children across the world. Little is a debut writer and an advocate for people of color. She lives in Texas with her husband, Amadeus, whom she woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning with this idea. He had been her motivator ever since that early morning shakeup. They have three biological children and a very sweet foster kiddo. ABC That Could Be Me is her first book. Her goal in life is to make children see how great they are and attach their faces to amazing characters that can change the world. I also need to thank Lisa Engelthaler for introducing me to Little. So, Little, thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations on your new book. That's a major milestone.
Yes, thanks for having me. And I am so excited about it. And yes, thank you, Lisa, for introducing me to Brian. I appreciate it.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, so I grew up in Plano, Texas, and I went to Plano ISD schools. Early childhood, I had like a speech impediment, so I was stuttering. They started I started speech classes probably in second grade. Um, and the first book I actually was able to read was Green Eggs and Ham. So I did a lot of Dr. Seuss books, and so that was my first book that I could read straight through without stuttering.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and then in middle school is when I knew I had like a difference in learning. In middle school is whenever I found out I had dyslexia,
Huh.
and it's weird because that was like the best news of my life because I just thought I was not smart.
Hmm.
Um, and so whenever I got diagnosed with dyslexia. I was like, okay, because I learned different, and so then I was able to be taught different.
Hmm.
um, really well in school after that. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
So what um, what made you want to write a book? A lot
So
of work.
that was not my thought. I just So Lisa is like my mentor. I love her to death, spiritually and just like emotionally. She's my friend, and she's a writer. And so I was just telling her, just kind of going. We were just talking about life, and she knows that I got adopted by my godparents. They're white, and they pushed a lot on like, oh, you can be a doctor. I was smart. I wanted to be a PA, or I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to do this, and they're like, you can do that. But I didn't know. I didn't see people that looked like me. I've seen doctors, but I never saw. Growing up, I never saw a black doctor. I never saw a female doctor. My doctor was a male, and so it was just kind of hard there. But Lisa and I was telling her, I was like, I just have never really seen people in different career, like big time careers, an architect or anything like that, that was black. And she was like, but Little, there's a lot of, like there's a lot of people. And I was in the military and I was sleeping, and I thought about it. And so when I was talking to her more and more about it, she's like, yeah, I think that we need to do something about that, right? And so I started just looking into a bunch of things, and I was baffled in a good way that there was so many people in different careers that looked like me. And had I had that as a kid, starting in elementary school, it could have possibly been different for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
That is why I did, yeah.
That's amazing. So had you written much, or published things or articles or anything like that before attempting to do this book?
Not at all. Did never never thought about writing again. Dyslexia, my speech impediment, like those things just rushed me thinking about it. So when Lisa was talking about it, I was just like, no, that's not me. That's not gonna work. And so she pushed me a lot, and Lisa's getting ready to write, or she's writing her book too. So, but she pushed me more, and
Hmm.
I was just like, hey, Lisa, but you're a writer, this is what you do. You write for the Dallas Morning News. Like this is what you do. This is not what I do. So So yeah, I just started writing, and once I did it, I was like, oh, it just almost came to me just because of the fact that these people are real, right? So it's easier. It was easier to write because these are real people, and you can look them up online, and you can, learn so many different things about these people. So it was kind of easy, um, but again, I'm not a writer, so that was that was the hard part for me.
So in the book, you tell stories of several Black role models. Can you tell us who some of them are?
Yeah, so actually, this is the book
Yay.
here. Yeah. So this is the book, and it's illustrated by Lindsay Scott. So, and actually, we came to the conclusion that we were going to use a male and a female, and it's based off of like my kids, right? So we went through a couple of different things, but it's like my son and my daughter just kind of like being in these different things. So you'll see the same people, different hair. We have really cool hair. We could do it different. Um, so you'll see different hairstyles in here. But we'll start here. Um, this one is Paul R. Williams. He's the first Black architect. Um, and then I'm just gonna skip a couple of pages. Macon Boland Allen, he was the first Black lawyer.
Hmm.
We'll go back to geologist. We'll go to a female. Marguerite Williams, first Black, if you can see that, first Black geologist.
Hmm.
So just kind of just going through and finding these people it was so easy. And I didn't think like, oh, so going through this, I was just like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, geologist. I could have done doctor, but there's just so many different doctors. So then I ended up, going to the neurosurgeon. So, yeah, so we have a couple.
How did you identify the specific people, that you featured in the book?
Pardon me?
How did you identify the people that you featured in the book?
Oh, so once I had kids, I didn't really get too much of that growing up. And so teaching my kids, I wanted them to be able to see people that looked like them. So I just started buying more books by Black authors, or books with kids or people that look like them. And there are some books with these specific people in there. So yeah, just a lot of research.
That's what it sounds like.
A lot. So yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about your process of working with the illustrator? In a lot of traditionally published books, the author and the illustrator don't even talk to each other. The author writes the words, and then the publishing house finds an illustrator to, draw illustrations for the book. Was that the way your process looked, or was it much different than that?
Way different. So I have a really good friend, and her daughter she's in school to be an art teacher. And so she did art lessons with my daughter, and so Lindsay is like my niece. Okay. So if you ever hear me say, oh yeah, my niece Lindsay, this is who she is. Her mom and I are friends, and she is their family. And so she was 19 when she did this. She started illustrating. And so because she was so young and she was my niece, I didn't want anybody to touch her drawings. I wanted I wanted to be just what she did, right? So even in the book, there are some shadows and stuff, but this is what she did, right? So if there was another young author or young illustrator or young kid, this is something that they could do, and they are not feeling as if everything has to be perfect and spot on. So I had my niece do it, and she did an amazing job. Her name is Lindsay Scott. And my other book she's working on the illustrations for that as well. So it was simple just because she was my niece and she's sweet and smart and she's great at what she does. And her illustrations are just going to get better.
So,
So
writing a book is an amazing process. What are some of the things you learned as you went through this?
um, it takes time and patience. Um, being patient, because even in looking into um, the different people, you have to make sure you can get to for this type of book, you have to make sure you get to the right websites, and the dates could be wrong. So, like trying to make sure that, even though there was this black, it says this person was the first black architect, there's another first black or another architect, and their years were just so close together. So I had to make sure and do like all of my research and be like, okay, which one? Who was it? That was hard. But I was able to get it done, and the publishing house that was able to help out with that as well. So yeah, but I learned a lot of patience.
So there's one part of this whole process that has to do with writing the book and creating the book. There's another part of the process that has to do with marketing the book, right? So
Yes.
what kinds of things have you done as part of your book launch?
Okay, so at the very beginning, before I think we spoke, and you saw the raw, like the I put it in a book, or what was it? I put it in like a spiral so you could see like what it was. It wasn't anything. Um, so whenever I did that, I was like, okay, I have to do something different. So at the beginning, before anything, I ended up getting these cards made, and so that was just the front part. And then on the back, I was handing them out to everybody. I was handing these. I think we ended up getting like 2,000 of these made.
Wow.
Um, Probably have like 200 left. Um, yeah. And so I would go to different things. Um, I would go to different things and just hand them out. If I was at a luncheon and I would see people, I'm handing them out, talking to people. I met a table full of ladies, and one of the ladies was over curriculum for Catch Up and Read.
Hmm.
And so I was like, hey, hey, can we talk? So we communicated, and my book is gonna be with Catch Up and Read in Dallas. Um, I am also, so when that happened, I didn't even think, oh, this book could actually get into school districts for inclusion. So I'm super excited about that. It helps everybody see people of color in different careers. Um, what else have I done? Just book signings, so different type of book signings that they've set up, and some that I've just set up. I went to um, Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. We were there, and I was like, "Oh, hey!" But it was so many kids, like people with kids.
Uh-huh.
Um, by the way, what is it okay if I set up something to do like a book signing here? The lady was like, "I have grandkids, perfect." So I'm always told I'm a salesman, just because I will walk into a place because it's I can call on the phone all day, right? But when you're in, face to face, it just seems better to me. Um, and so that's what I've done. I've literally walked into churches, all of that. So just the in-person type thing. I think this might be the closest we can get because of COVID. But the moment that I can meet you, I can't wait. But yeah, so just kind of been marketing myself, but my publishers are amazing, and they've been marketing it really well.
That's cool. Well, you sound very entrepreneurial, and that's a wonderful thing to see.
Yes, thank you.
So after going through all this, what kind of advice do you have for other new authors that are going through something for the first time like this?
Um, don't give up. It's to take away sleep at night. Uh, just drink. coffee the next day and just keep going, just keep pushing. Reaching out to people is big. Just being able to talk to one person and just reaching out to people just because, I mean, that's just what you need to do. But one person could lead you to the next person. Lisa led me to you. Lisa also led me through to my publisher, right? So just knowing and going and speak to people, like random people on the street. If you think that that could help what you're doing, hey, go for it. And that's how I got into Catch Up and Read. I knew none of those ladies, but I'm also a talker.
So can you tell folks about the publisher, who it is?
Yeah, so Will Evans, he is the publisher, but Deep. Okay, so there's two. So there's Deep Ellum Books or Deep Vellum Bookstore, and then you can get the book from there. But Deep Vellum Publishing is what it is. So then, I think it's like also under like Law Reunion, but I found them through, like I said, through Lisa. They're just great. Will is amazing. Again, Lisa just was on a conference and met him, and so she was like, "I have a friend who's writing a book, right?" And so, yeah, that's how we met, and it kind of went from writing the book, the thought of it, and the whole process was kind of fast, but it was like 2 years. And then it was like a year before everything just kind of like folded out. So willing, and he gets things going. And of course, because he has his own bookstore, it'll be at his bookstore. So yeah.
What about people who would want to order it, like online? Where would they find it?
Yeah, so Deep Ellum Bookstore, you can order online through them, and they're in downtown Dallas. You can go into the bookstore or you can order online. It's also at Target.
Cool.
That was huge for me.
Yes, absolutely.
You can go online at Target. We're still working on hopefully getting it in the store, but I'm okay with it being online right now. Target, Barnes and Noble online. The one at Stonebriar had actual physical books in there, and then Amazon. So.
Cool. So I know you're still in the midst of, launching this book, but do you have any plans for future books that you can talk about?
I do. We are trying to like get traction for this first book, but the other one is done and written, and we're just kind of like waiting. And it's ABC Invent with Me, so it's it's African American inventions by African Americans. So that will be my next book. And my niece Lindsay is also working on illustrating that one as well. So.
Wonderful, wonderful, very cool. Well, again, really so glad for you, Little, and appreciate you sharing your book with us today. Again, the title is ABC, That Could Be Me, and you can find it on Amazon or at Deep Vellum Bookstore in Dallas, or the Deep Vellum website. So, Little, again, congratulations, and thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.